Alright guys, we're back. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CB checking in. And guys, I wanted to discuss AJ, Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder, their little interaction after the fight with Derek Chisora. Now you guys know Wilder got a split decision win over Derek Chisora this past weekend at the O2 Arena in London. And I thought it was a pretty entertaining fight. I know some people didn't. They talked about the fight was trash. I didn't see that. I didn't see it as a technical boxing match that I particularly prefer. I know some of you guys don't like that type of fighting. I just saw it as a good old-fashioned scrap between the two. It was, it was a fight. And I mentioned in my reaction video that I thought Wilder could have won the fight easily if he was to use his physical attributes to his advantage. His long arms, working behind the jab, setting up the punches with his jab. But he didn't really do that. He kind of pawed with the jab. He never really set up that right hand like he should have. He was kind of winging it and letting Derek Chisora getting on the inside. And Wilder pretty much held his own on the inside, in my opinion. So it was an entertaining fight. Now, after the fight, he had this little interaction with AJ when he was on his way back to his dressing room. And he said, let's do it. Basically, hey, AJ, let's get this on. It's been a long time coming. And I think AJ said that he wasn't ready for that. And I think Wilder said something about AJ being scared. Now, I kind of looked at AJ, just kind of studying his body language. And I know some of you guys are going to disagree with this, but I feel like he was a little nervous when it came to Deontay Wilder. It just seems like that Deontay Wilder sparked some type of fear in him. I could be reading this wrong, but that's the impression that I get. And it's wild to me because when I look at both of these fighters, I see AJ as the more technical, disciplined fighter as opposed to Deontay Wilder. Even though Deontay Wilder is my guy, I'm an American, I'm going to always support him. I just see AJ as a more technically sound, disciplined fighter. Wilder, of course, he has a great equalizer. I think Wilder does have the ability to box if he would trust himself. He has the physical attributes that are there. If he would trust himself and do what he does when he's in training, I think, he could have went a lot further in his career. And he still can if he sticks around, if he kind of masters that, in my opinion. But I think AJ is shook when it comes to Wilder. And the only thing I can fathom from that, even though I think he's a better technical fighter, is that he has a suspect chin. We know that. AJ has a suspect chin. And he knows Wilder's right hand has nothing but dynamite in it. And he's afraid of that, in my opinion. So, in all honesty, I want this fight. It's been a long time coming. I know there's no titles. It would have been bigger back when both of these guys were in their prime and they had all these belts and somebody could have became undisputed. But I think that the public still would entertain this. I think it still could be a big occasion. You have, one of the most popular fighters in the UK versus Deontay Wilder from the US, who, I wouldn't say all of the U.S. supports, and we see how they do Wilder here. We see how they do Terrence Bud Crawford here. But there's a pretty sizable part of the country that would support Wilder in the fight. So you have these two countries clashing, these big names. Even though they're not in their prime, I think it would be a good showdown between the two. But I just sense that, AJ's just a little bit shook when it comes to Wilder. He seems nervous to me. And no shade to the UK fans. You guys know I love the UK fans. I love Anthony Joshua, but it just seems like that Wilder, something about Wilder gets under his skin, makes him a little bit nervous. But I just want to give my opinion on that. I'm interested in knowing what you guys think about that. Do you think AJ's afraid of Wilder? Or do you think that I'm just blowing hot air? You guys let me know how you feel about this one in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.